Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Miles and Goggles Show. I'm your host, Miles. To my left, we got my co-host, Goggles. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good today.
We got a big episode here today. Episode 7, of course, we've got our top 10 centers list.
The final top 10 of
Final
positions.
top 10 of positions, and the center position is by
Loaded.
far the deepest
It's
position.
so loaded.
There are so many just solid guys that aren't going to make the list for us. But as of recording this, yesterday, Monday, was basically the first day of all the teams' media day, and there were some pretty good highlights. It's always one of my favorite days of the year just because, we have the whole long off season of just nothingness, and, it's like the first day of school. It's the first time we're seeing all these guys for the new season.
And different jerseys and all that.
Different jerseys,
Yeah.
like Colin Sexton and purple and the Jazz. Oh my gosh. Just some weird things. But what from Media Day stood out to you to start things off?
Well, obviously, I could say the Rockets, Jalen Green and all them looking good, but, you just showed me this Mike Brown video. It's really funny.
Mike Brown just screaming. That was just hilarious. That young team. Oh, man.
This is crazy. I'm looking at this. The only ones the Jazz posted were Jordan Clarkson.
Which is weird because I feel like he's going to get traded.
Oh, they all are going to get traded. That's probably why they didn't post anyone else.
Oh, man. Well, they posted Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. Malik Beasley, he was quoted to say that he wants to be an all-star on and off the court. Okay, so we can get into the Bojan Bogdanovic trade with the Jazz. Last week, the Jazz trading the Croatian forward to the Detroit Pistons for Kelly Olynyk and Saben Lee.
Weird trade.
Very interesting
Unexpected.
trade. Unexpected. I definitely didn't expect, first of all, a guy like Bogdanovic to not even garner a draft pick.
Yeah, especially for a rebuilding team. You would think they would have at least tried to get that. And
Especially considering Royce O'Neal got a first-round pick.
even they didn't get really that quality young player. Saben Lee's pretty good, but he's not
He's
a
not,
crazy
no,
guy.
Yeah, and then Kelly Olynyk, he'll probably be their starting center to start off with.
But he's not even young.
No, he's not. I remember a couple years ago, his half season with the Rockets, he played really well.
He played exceptionally well, and then they traded him because, honestly,
Well, he just signed with Detroit.
Oh, that's right.
Which also weird
After
by
James
him.
Harden, yeah.
But I wonder if Danny Ainge just loves Kelly Olynyk that much from his Celtics days that he just wanted him back. But
Remember watching him just decking everyone to the ground all the time.
yeah, Kevin Love, man, still.
And then
haunts
Kelly
me.
Oubre.
Yeah,
Just had beef with everyone, it seemed.
yeah. But what do you think about this for the Pistons? Because, this is a solid move for them. This is a guy that's like an 18 to 20 point scorer, very good 3-point shooter. A guy that could start for the Pistons, theoretically.
Yeah, and they needed a 3 after they lost Grant.
Or at least a 4.
Well, 3
'cause
or
they still have
3/4 because Sadiq, yeah. So I think it's a good trade, especially if Sadiq ever needs a break, he can just move to the 3 or something, or if he ever needs a break, they can just kind of switch it out.
Yeah, because Bogdanovic, he's a solid defender. Like in years past with the Indiana Pacers, he's guarded LeBron in the playoffs and done a solid job, about as good as you could do with LeBron.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people say that with this trade, the Pistons could have a similar jump this season to the Cavs from last season. Well, see, this is the thing. Let's be honest. We think of the Cavs as having a huge jump into being like a home court playoff team. They lost in the play-in game.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Pistons could make the play-in game this season?
If everything goes right, I think they could. If Cade takes an even bigger step up, and if Sadiq keeps scoring like he did last year, I think they definitely could. But they need, the Cavs, they had multiple people who could just score
and defend. It was defense.
Defend.
That was their identity.
And I don't see anyone on the Pistons like that right now.
Yeah, that's a very solid point.
Other than unless maybe Marvin Bagley takes that step, that even bigger step up, which I could very well see happening. Because I've liked Marvin Bagley since the beginning. It's tough to be thrown into Sacramento and put up anything.
Yeah, but you look at their bigs. It's pretty solid. They've got Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duran, Marvin Bagley, of course, that we already mentioned.
And maybe, I guess you could count Bogdanovic.
You can count Bogdanovic. He's a 4.
Yeah.
So, do you
Solid
think
team.
that they're in I think that this trade definitely it moves them up a little bit as far as tiers go from being at the very bottom with like the Pacers and maybe the Magic,
I think they're more in the.
the Knicks. I'm thinking.
I'm thinking Hornets.
Oh
Hornets
yeah,
type
Hornets.
range.
Hornets. Do you think the Knicks and the Hornets are in the same thing? 'Cause both of us, we really aren't that high on the Knicks. But it's like the
I'm not
Knicks
that
still
high on
have
the Hornets
solid
either,
players.
other
Well, yeah,
than
we
Melo.
both we think that the Hornets should tank.
Yeah,
Um,
because they need a center, and well, there's that one really tall guy.
Yeah. But yeah, the Pistons, a solid move, unexpected move, but definitely a decent move because, I mean, there also is plenty of value in getting an experienced veteran on a young team.
Oh yeah, for
There's
sure.
definitely value in that.
Yeah, because what other veterans do they even have? 'Cause
They
did-
have like Corey Joseph.
Do they have Derrick Rose still?
No, he's still on the Knicks, injured.
Oh, that's right.
He might come back.
That's
oh,
right,
I
they
can't remember
traded
what
him.
he said at Media Day. I actually should probably
I don't know. I love Derrick Rose.
look
Derrick
that
Rose.
up. But yeah, the
Great.
Bogdanovich trade definitely a solid thing. Going back to Media Day though, something that stood out to me was the vibe around the Suns, which a lot
Yeah.
of people have talked about. Very like dim and just down. Like I know ESPN's Brian Windhorst was quoted as saying that it felt like a dentist waiting room. And I could definitely feel that. DeAndre Ayton giving like one-word answers to, like his first. I don't know. Did you watch any of the Ayton interviews? So
No, I didn't watch
The
any.
first question he was asked was like, "Congratulations on like the new deal. How do you feel about being back in Phoenix after? How do you feel about Phoenix matching the offer after you
Good.
tried to sign with Indiana?" And he's just like, "Yeah, it's good. I'm happy." And he like paused for 5 seconds,
That's
and then
that's a Kawhi answer.
and then the
though.
reporter
That's definitely
was
something
like-
Kawhi would say.
yeah, but that's not DeAndre Ayton. He's like a fun guy. Like,
yeah, that's true. Kawhi,
well, I know Kawhi's a fun guy too. Don't get me wrong, but
the fun guy, Kawhi.
yeah, just really weird vibes. And of course, I don't know if we should get into the Robert Sarver things. I mean, really, all that needs to be said is that his actions are unacceptable.
Yeah.
And I think both of us can agree that him selling the team is no question the right move.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But you could tell that like that's just like it has an impact on the players. And of course, we can get into the Jay Crowder news. He requested a trade. Came out a couple days ago that Monty Williams or Suns management or anything, they were saying that Jay Crowder could potentially lose his starting job. And Jay Crowder doesn't like that, so he's requesting a trade and he wants out. What do you think about that? Just that request in general. I kind of like.
I think it's good for a lot of other teams. For
It-
instance,
yeah.
like you said yesterday, the Heat.
The
If
Heat
the Heat
would
can
be-
get him back, I think that bumps them up a whole lot.
Yeah, I know Woj was saying there are plenty of teams that Crowder used to play for actually that are interested, including the Heat. I've also seen the Mavericks.
Mavericks would be good too.
I've also seen the Grizzlies. Going back to the Grizzlies,
That'd be a
very.
good defensive lineup there in Dallas, because I saw a report that they're probably gonna have Wood come as their sixth man.
That's what Jason
Insert-
Kidd said. That's a
insert
lot of
JaVale.
thing. Yeah, Christian Wood's going to be their
Because
sixth man.
think about that defensive lineup if they trade for Crowder. You have Finney Smith at the 3, Crowder, and then
McGee.
JaVale. That's a good
It would
defensive
depend
lineup.
on who they would trade in a deal. Because I don't know how much the Suns
That's true.
would value. Like, oh, there's another team, the Bulls. The Bulls.
Bulls.
That'd be an okay.
But
like,
they already
four.
have Patrick Williams.
They have Patrick Williams.
And I like Patrick Williams.
There have been some trade, like rumors, like not proposed trades, but trades that like fans have come up with that I thought were pretty interesting. One trade I saw was Jay Crowder to the Bulls for Kobe White and Javante Green, which
That seems. If I'm the Bulls, I don't give up on Kobe White just yet, because you have 2 injury-prone guards as your 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I would keep him just in case, because if Lonzo's already down, so he's probably gonna be your bench point guard. So, and what happened with Caruso?
Caruso, I think he's healthy. You could look that up, but they have that's the thing though. They have a lot of guards. Like they have Lonzo, they have Zach. They picked up Goran Dragic in the offseason. They still have Kobe White. Ayo Dosunmu was a very solid rookie for them
Ayo was
last
very
year.
good last year.
And it's like, yeah, Jay Crowder. You're right though with the Patrick Williams thing. I think he was just like the 4th overall pick a couple years ago,
Yeah,
and he
out of Florida State.
didn't play much last year due to injury.
I don't know why they would give up on him that early. I think if I'm them, I'm just content where I am, at least for now, unless I can get like a really good center. If I could trade Vooch and like someone else for an even better center, 'cause that's the one problem I have with them right now.
Is
I don't,
Vooch?
I don't think Vooch is a good fit on that team at all.
I can kind of agree with that. I mean, Vooch he had a bad year last year. We can be honest. Counting stats, I don't have him personally on my list when we get to the centers because he just had a down year efficiency wise. But another trade I saw, it was a 3-team trade, and usually when fans make up 3-team trades, not very good. But I actually kind of like this one. It was Jay Crowder going to the Heat, the Pacers getting Duncan Robinson, and the Suns getting O'Shea Brissett.
That's a good trade. All 3 sides.
I think it could be solid.
Because then you can just like, Pacers are fine eating up that contract.
Yeah, because they're not trying to win.
O'Shea's not that bad.
O'Shea
either.
Brissett he's been very like
Streaky.
underratedly good. Obviously the Pacers not that great the last couple seasons, but a double-digit scorer for them. Like 9 points gives you 5 boards a game at the 3. Solid 3-point shooter, 36% for his career. The thing is, I can personally admit, I'm sure you can agree, we've not watched much of the Pacers or O'Shea Brissett to know if he could be a solid defensive player to where if you trade him to the Suns, if he could play the 4. Or this is another thing I'm thinking for Monty Williams, they might be looking to start Cam Johnson at the 4.
That would be interesting.
And he had a very good season last year. I think he was top 3 in 6th man voting.
Didn't he have a 44-point game with the game winner?
Yeah,
Everyone
I was just
losing
watching
their
that.
minds.
Yeah. But yeah, they might be looking to start Cam Johnson at the 4. I mean, Cam Johnson, I remember he was the 11th pick. I remember when he was picked 11, everyone was like, what in the heck? What are the Suns doing? And he's already been one of the best 3-point shooters in the league at the power forward position.
Kind of like Kevin Love on the Cavs right now.
Yeah, just come off the bench to fire away.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Jay Crowder news, that's something that the Suns have been dealing with. And of course, the DeAndre Ayton, basically the Suns were saying they were willing to just let him walk to the Pacers before they matched the offer initially. Because they were like, that'd be one of the worst moves you could make. And that'd be saying a lot for the Suns over the past decade.
Mm-hmm. Also, Dean Wade.
Dean Wade, yes.
Big extension.
Smaller move, 3 years, $18.5 million. I'm super happy for Dean Wade coming in as an undrafted guy.
He's a good little player.
Everyone tries to trash on him, and he's like, "Oh, D Wade, what is he? What is this dude? He's a big player." But no, he's a very solid. He's a solid piece.
He plays with a lot of intensity,
which you wouldn't expect from his
he wants to
demeanor.
He's like Delly. Delly was the same way.
He's one of my favorite players to watch because he's 6'10", but all these guards, they'll try to take him in isolations against him because they think they can go past him, and he'll hold his ground very well.
Yeah.
And that stretch player that can shoot the 3, and every single lineup that Dean Wade was featured in was positive for the most part.
When we watched him face off against Giannis, and he played fantastic
against
defense
the Bucks,
on Giannis.
yes. So Dean Wade
and CJ
McCollum, that's obviously much bigger. I don't know. We should have started
2 years,
that.
$64 million.
Yes, extension with the New Orleans Pelicans. What do you think about this?
Great fit. I think New Orleans is going to be scary this year. I think they could they're probably going to be 7 or 8 in the West just because the West is so stacked.
And the West, it has so much variation. They could be even higher as well.
Exactly. It all depends on other teams. But great move. I think CJ fits really well on that team because they need that guard who can shoot the 3 ball really well and also can play an ISO and pass pretty well.
Yeah, CJ McCollum
He just has to throw.
He
has to know how to throw lobs. That's basically it.
Yeah, with Zion and stuff. Obviously, their biggest question is going to probably be defense.
Defense. Who needs defense?
Well, I mean, you look at their starting lineup. Well, let's see. Do I even have one of their...
CJ, I think, is point.
It'll be CJ, Herb Jones, and Ingram in some
Herb
variation.
Jones puts clamps on.
Herb Jones obviously puts clamps on. He was one of the best defensive rookies last year.
I love Herb Jones.
But Zion's obviously a huge question mark. Valanciunas, he's a strong defender, but his problems in the past is he can get into foul trouble, and that's where they can get into trouble. But you look at CJ's numbers with the Pelicans in 26 games last season. 24 points, 4.5 boards, 6 assists on 49 and 39%
Those
from three shooting splits. Efficient
numbers.
for CJ McCollum.
You said 24?
Wow, 24 points per game.
6. That's.
How did he only shoot 68 from the free throw line? That's weird.
He's very underrated.
But CJ McCollum, very, very underrated player. And definitely someone that could, move the needle for the Pelicans, along with Zion coming back from his injury. So, I guess the last thing on Media Day that we can go over, because we talked about this guy on the last episode a lot, Goglin, but Christian Wood, apparently a top 3 power forward, is gonna, according to Jason Kidd, they're gonna have him come off the bench and be a 6th man. What do you think about this? I think it's
a great idea. I really do. Especially, if you want to start Finney at the 4, that's perfect because he plays great defense, and then you pair him with JaVale, or even put Kleber at the 4, Finney at the 3. That's great defensive lineup. Because Luka doesn't provide much defensively, so you need to have that somewhere else. And him and Luka on the same lineup would not have. It just wouldn't have fit that well.
Do you think they'll start in the backcourt? Do you think they'll start Dinwiddie or Hardaway?
I think to start the year they're going to start off with Dinwiddie, but if Hardaway's playing good off the bench, I think they'll switch it.
Yeah, honestly, it really doesn't matter. They're both really similar players.
Either way, they're both going to make an impact in the starting lineup and the second string.
Yeah, exactly. Mavericks is definitely a solid team, and Christian Wood being able to just go against second units, I think that's solid.
Think about him with having Dinwiddie or Hardaway. That's a good 30 points.
That's
off the
great
bench
tandem
per
off
game.
the bench. Yeah, exactly.
That's like Kevin Love and
Karras.
Karras last year.
Yeah.
Great tandem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I guess one more thing with Media Day. Actually, 2. I forgot about this. The Jimmy Butler hair. We have to address it.
I love it.
I don't even know. I don't know
I might
what's the
change my
thing.
hair to that.
I could not
Episode
imagine.
8 just coming with the dreads.
That'd be insane.
That'd be amazing.
Do you think that they'll be gone by game 1?
No.
Really?
I think I'll have him at least for game 1, see how he plays in game 1.
I don't think he can function with those. I don't know how that'll be possible.
Alfred Payton's done it. He got blocked by his own hair 8 times.
I guess.
That's really funny. Got blocked by his own hair.
That's but see, I think a similar thing could happen if his hair's just on his side. He'll just go up for a shot and his hair will foul him.
It'll hit his arm, and then he'll flop. He'll be like, "Oh, someone hit me." And it's nope, it's just your
dreads. That's how I'll lead the league in free throw attempts.
That's what James Harden should have done. He would have been shooting 50 a game.
Hey, he tried it with the beard.
He still has the beard.
But one more comedic thing from Media Day with Alex Caruso. So obviously, I guess we really haven't addressed it at all since the podcast started with the passing of Bill Russell. Rest in peace. The number 6 is being cremated in all the in the whole league, other than players that are currently wearing 6. So guys like LeBron can still wear the number 6.
Yeah.
But Alex Caruso wanted to change his jersey number from number 6 to honor Bill Russell, but the Bulls and the NBA denied the request because he was top 75 in jersey sales. Isn't that crazy?
That's not surprising though. Everyone loves him.
It's hilarious.
I need to buy a jersey of his.
What?
Move him up the list a little bit.
Alex Caruso, man. I just found that hilarious.
That's great.
But yeah, Alex Caruso just can't change from number 6. But yeah, that's basically I guess all the main big points from Media Day. Let us know if there are any other what your favorite Media Day moment was from this season. Now, I guess let's get into our top 10 centers list, the deepest position.
By far.
Yes, exactly. A lot of very solid players on this center list. And a big reason for that is, if I'm not mistaken, there really aren't that many guys that missed the list due to injury, right?
I don't think so.
I mean, you could say Anthony Davis, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Other than that, I mean,
I can't really think of. Maybe it'll come to me
did I even
later.
put Anthony Davis on that list? He was shooting 18%.
I mean, it's Anthony Davis. I would still.
Still.
Um,
That's like me.
but let's get into our top 10 centers. So I'll start off with my number 10. I've got Robert Williams.
Time Lord, I have Valanciunas here at 10.
Okay.
I think he played fantastic last year. It seemed like every game you turned on and looked, he was at like 20 points and like 13 boards.
Mm-hmm.
Very consistent, and he's not a bad passer at the big man either.
And he's incorporated the three ball into his game. Like, I remember for the first few months, he was one of the best 3-point
He
shooters
shot
in the league.
36% while also shooting 54% from the field. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean,
very solid. Very solid.
And the
for
thing
Pelicans.
is, like, people were like, "Oh, we didn't see this coming." He's been playing like this since he was on Memphis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since he was traded from Toronto, really.
Yeah,
where he was
really.
a
I mean,
role player.
well, because he had a bigger role on those teams, and that's what he's always needed, and he's looking good.
Yeah, I think his numbers would go down a little bit this season because
Of course.
he'll be the fourth option, but he's still a guy that you can throw the ball in the post
And just
and be
let him
solid.
work.
Yeah. I had him as I had him at my 11, very close, but I had Robert Williams over him just because of his defense, man. I was so impressed with his playoff run, and I was kind of disappointed about his, like, it seemed like every game, not every game, but like he was getting injured so often that his minutes were always so limited, but he was
Time
so
Lord.
impactful. And of course, he's going to miss the first few weeks of the season this year, even more than that for the Celtics. And that, of course, with the Ime Udoka stuff that we already talked about, plus the Gallinari injury, that could have a major impact on the Celtics to start the season. What do you think?
I think so too. I think like he was the backbone of that team, alongside Marcus Smart, and I think that's why they were so good.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
on defense at
yeah.
least.
So going off of what you said, just going into number 9, I have him at number 9, because like same reasons. Like obviously I can't put him above like a lot of these guys because he was injured so much.
And the scoring's
And
not
the-
there.
yeah,
I mean,
the
you look at his scoring numbers. I mean, it's
Same with
nothing
Rudy.
crazy.
Stupid Rudy.
What?
Nothing.
Like we'll get to him later.
Why is he like front page?
From
Why is
page
Rudy
of-
Gobert here?
We'll get to.
Like look at this. I can't right now.
But yeah, Rob Williams, you look at his like offensive numbers. I mean, he only averaged 10 points per game last season. In the playoffs, it dipped to just 8 and 6 in just 23 minutes. But I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't care.
you always see him getting crazy blocks in crunch time.
Alley-oop catcher, athletic as heck.
I mean, that alley-oop he caught when we were there
Oh yeah.
over
yeah,
Jared
yeah.
Allen, that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean Robert Williams.
He's the Time Lord.
If he was healthy this season, I really think he had the potential to be like a very sleeper dark horse all-star, which I think is one of the boldest takes that anyone could make.
Also, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, maybe.
What if
Wouldn't
him
that
and
be
Marcus
crazy?
just shared it?
Imagine if like that. There's no way that's ever happened before. Where the
Back-to-back.
same team won it back-to-back years with different players. I can't remember if that. I don't think that could have ever happened before.
Yeah.
But we could fact check that later. But Robert Williams, definitely a huge piece for the Celtics, and his absence could be a reason why the Celtics get off to a slowish start.
Yeah. Who's your number 9?
My number 9, I actually have Porzingis at number 9.
He's not on my list.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I mean, it's tough, but Porzingis, I think he's going to have a solid season this year for Washington. He was disappointing in his stint
disappointing.
with the Mavericks.
I mean, for what they gave up for him, they didn't get that back, I don't think.
no, not really. I mean, they really just got like Dinwiddie and Bertans back.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, like, he's okay, but he scores and everything. He's a solid 3-point shooter, but his defense isn't that impressive at his
For a guy
size.
that's 7'3", you want to see more from him on that end.
And with his speed and everything, like he's not a slow player at his size. I mean, you just got to see more. I think.
I can agree with that as well. But with his numbers with Washington are kind of why I have him a little up. I mean, 22 points. He looked a little bit back more to himself.
Well, that's because he gets the ball a lot
before
more.
the injury. Yeah, and that's gonna be
He's the
a
main
big, like,
option.
point
Well,
with
and
Beal
actually,
as well.
I still think it's going to dip back down because Beal's still going to be that number one.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, the Wizards are another team that I think we forgot to mention in that Pistons Hornets range. I think the Wizards are probably in that same tier. But we'll see how Porzingis plays. I mean, new situation in a place that's like, this is really going to be the first time in his career where the spotlight is not going to be all over him.
Yeah.
Of course, starting with the Knicks, of course, if you play in New York, spotlight's going to be on you.
If you're the best player on New York.
Gets injured, and then with the Mavericks is expected to be like the second guy to Luka, one of the best guys in the league. With Washington, you really don't hear about him at all to start the season.
Not at all.
So we'll see how Porzingis can respond to that. My number 8, I've got Jared Allen at number 8, the Fro. I was so impressed with him last season for the Cavs, and unexpected as well. Like 16 points per game for Jared Allen. Like,
that's good.
Improved his post scoring. Huge reason why the Cavs dipped off when he went out with the injury with the broken finger in early March. One of the best shot blockers in the league.
Yeah.
Part of one of the best pick and roll combos in the league.
I mean, there was that one year where he was blocking every superstar, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's crazy!" Like he blocked. There was a week span he blocked Giannis, LeBron, Blake Griffin, and everyone was
Anthony
like, "Oh my
Davis.
gosh, he's going crazy."
So yeah, Jared Allen. Man, he's just one of my favorite guys because just his personality as well. Like he was asked yesterday, just randomly, "What's your favorite Pokemon?" and all that stuff.
What did he say? Did he say a good one?
I can't remember exactly.
I'm gonna rewatch that.
I think he said Greninja was one of them.
I love Greninja.
But yeah, Jared Allen is who I have at number 8. One of my favorite players in the league, and I'm so happy he's on my team. Who do you have at number 8?
I have Mr. One-Word Answer, DeAndre Ayton.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, he averaged 17, 10, and good shooting splits. 63% from the field, 36% from 3. But he's not exactly spectacular on defense. He's pretty good, but he's not up to these other guys, I think. And these other guys play really good defense, but also really good offense, and they play their roles perfectly on offense. I think that's where DeAndre and he plays his role great on the Suns on offense, but his defense it's not exactly spectacular.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton, I have him at my number 7.
Okay.
But yeah, solid player. He's one of those guys that with his post scoring, he's one of those guys where in an age where I think the post game and the inside game with the hook shots and the footwork and all that is kind of dimming down. I think he's one of those guys that's going to keep it up for a little bit. Very solid post player. But I've got to give him some credit on defense. I want to look at where the Suns were defensively, but being the best team in the league, and I know for a fact they were at least a top 4 defense, some of the credit has to go to DeAndre at least.
For sure. But these other guys ahead of him, I think, just play a lot better.
Yeah, I'm expecting. Do you have Jared Allen on your list? Yeah, he's a better defender than DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, with you saying Jared Allen, I'm gonna go into my number 7, Rudy Gobert.
Whoa. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Wow, I know you don't like Rudy, but wow.
I think some of these guys ahead of him are just better.
Really?
I mean, obviously, he shot 71% from the field, averaged 15, 14, and 1, and was the best defender in the league.
3-time defensive player in the year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, man, that seems kind of low.
Well, actually, he wasn't the best defensive player. Marcus Smart was. But, I mean,
yeah.
I think his production on offense is going to dip down a lot because he doesn't have that guy who can, throw him lobs. I don't know.
I'd give D'Angelo Russell that type of.
I don't know how I feel about D'Lo though, because D'Lo's gonna want to play ISO, and Ant's gonna play a lot of ISO, so he's not even gonna be near the basket, grabbing all those rebounds either.
Well, I think that defense is like the Timberwolves' question.
Yeah.
That's definitely the question that they
'Cause
have. Like, where were the Timberwolves were 13th in defense last season. With Rudy, you would hope they would jump up a little bit. This
But
is a team that I have as a playoff lock just because of how they played last season. I really like the way they played. And adding Rudy's defense, I think, is huge.
Yeah. But I think the guys ahead of him just are just better. I think
Interesting. Okay.
just a little better.
So I've got him a little bit higher.
That's
so
fair. That's fair.
I had Ayton at 7. I have Pascal Siakam at my number 6. I'm not. I'll be the first to admit I'm not the biggest fan of Siakam or the Raptors, but I have to give him credit. He was amazing.
He's phenomenal
this season. He was very impressive for Toronto.
Ever since Kawhi left, he's been playing really well.
He's played very, very well. And playing as the center, which is just kind of weird. I mean, the Raptors, they just roll out a bunch of 6'7" guys anyways.
I think he gets a little more love as in the rankings as a power forward, but obviously that's Scotty for them. As a center, yeah, I mean, I have him just one spot higher at 5.
Yeah, I mean, Siakam, very solid. I mean, you look at his numbers last season, 23 points, 8.5 boards, and 5 assists on 49, 34, 75 shooting splits.
That's good numbers.
All NBA third team this season, and a big reason why the Raptors jumped up all the way to the 5th seed, because they didn't start the season that great.
And then he came back, and they were fantastic.
Very well. Very good player,
and he's
Pascal
a very
Siakam.
well-rounded player. Mm-hmm. At number 6, I've got your boy, Jared Allen.
Wow, okay.
I was looking, I'm like, man, Jared Allen was fantastic last year. I mean, like, when I think about a center, I think of someone who's going to go out there and play their role just perfectly. And he went out and did that. 16 points, obviously 10 rebounds, and he's a great defender. He's like, him and Mobley together in the backcourt, you can't...
In the front court.
Front court, yeah. How do you get a shot up against those guys?
Exactly. That's why... That's why, like, the Cavs last season, the whole game plan on defense was they allowed the most shots at the rim.
Because they can do that.
So they allowed the most shots at the rim, but it was like the lowest field goal percentage at the rim because you just have those two twin towers down there.
Like, if I'm driving into the lane and I like, Euro step, I have a Mobley, just hypothetically, and then I just have to get to Jared Allen. I'm like, okay, what was that all for? What was that all for? There's no point in doing those crazy things.
He can hold his own guarding guards as well.
I mean, you saw him switch out onto guards, and he would hold his own.
Yeah, my thing with Jared Allen, why I might have him a little lower, is I feel like his offensive production this season is going to go down just because of the
Donovan Mitchell,
Garland, and Mobley.
Mitchell's a good lob passer. We saw that with Rudy.
Yeah, with Rudy. I mean, that's the thing.
That could be his guy.
I'm surprised you have Jared Allen over Rudy though. That's kind of crazy. That's
might be
crazy.
A little biased.
I know. Yeah.
No, but I think Jared Allen's going to do more for his team this year than Rudy is.
Okay. I mean, heck, I hope so.
Hot take.
So I have Rudy at number 5.
I've got Pascal.
Okay, yeah, and we've already talked about those guys enough. I think Rudy gets flamed a little bit because of how the Jazz have gone out, never making it past the second round.
Never flame Rudy.
But like Rudy, obviously you have to put some of the blame on Rudy, but I blame more of it on the team building of the Jazz with like the lack of perimeter defenders, because it's like if the perimeter defenders aren't playing well and Rudy has to like help off like a dribble driver into the paint, and then you leave Terrence Mann wide open for 3 and he just keeps hitting them, then it's going to look like, oh, Rudy, what are you doing? But no, it's the perimeter guy's fault. So Rudy I have at number 5. Now we'll get into the top 4. I've got Bam Adebayo at number 4.
Yeah. I think we're going to have the same top 4.
Yeah, Bam,
it's pretty set in stone.
Yeah, Bam
was fantastic last year. Yeah. 19, 10, and how many assists?
I think they might have dipped down a little bit, but
still, I mean, the one thing with Bam is he's not the best 2-point shooter, like compared to these other guys. Like these other guys are up in the 60 percentile, like 60% with their shooting, and even some, like that one dude is at 70.
Yeah.
He's only at 55, but of course, That's because he's taking more. His shots are a little different. Like, he's not just that back to the basket guy. He takes a lot of floaters.
He takes more mid-range shots
and a lot of mid-range.
too.
So that's where that difference comes in.
And he's honestly someone that I'd like to see a little bit more from. Like, I feel like with the just going off of like his free throw shooting and his form, he's got a good-looking shot for a big guy.
Yeah.
I think he could definitely develop a corner three,
And he'd be
or even a top the key.
Imagine
three.
if he could shoot the corner three like PJ Tucker.
Well, that'd be ridiculous.
That'd be ridiculous.
But like, if the Heat are letting like Dwayne Dedmon shoot threes,
Why not let him
Bam
chuck up a
Adebayo
couple?
should be shooting threes. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could just be like 1 or 2 a game. But
Yeah.
just in that trailer position, you just throw it back to him, he fires away. I think he could knock down some threes. But definitely
Yeah, I think we
someone
both
solid.
agree on this one. I think it's gonna be all the same from here on out.
Yeah, number 3, I've got Cat.
I love Big Cat.
Karl Anthony Towns,
The
man.
best center on his team.
Well, now he's a power forward, technically.
Still better than that other guy.
But Karl Anthony Towns, man, he's just such a talented offensive player for a big guy. He said in the past that he believes that he's the best three-point shooter big to ever play.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
And he might be right.
He shot 41% from behind the arc last year,
Won the three-point contest.
and on his career he's shooting 39%. That's crazy from a center.
Yeah.
And I mean, I felt like every night I was checking fantasy, I'm like, oh, this dude's got 60 points tonight.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that kept me alive.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns just
Fantastic.
fantastic. I mean, something that I was disappointed.
And he's a good passer.
Yeah, solid passer as well for a big guy. But I
Turnovers.
was disappointed with his playoffs, man.
That's true. Very true.
Both times he's made the playoffs, he's underperformed. And you can look at the numbers. I mean, his efficiency, the stats don't always tell the story. You could look and see 22, 10 on 49, 46 from 3 and be like, oh my gosh, that was one of the best things in the league. But just with the eye test, he didn't look that great.
I agree.
Foul trouble was a thing, averaged 4 fouls per game in the playoffs.
Another upside for him, though, other than, like, obviously the 2, like, COVID kind of years where, like, a lot of things happened in his life, like
Yeah.
all of his personal stuff. He is a horse. Like, he's a workhorse. He, first 3 years in the league, played every single game. Then 77, then obviously the 2 years, and then played 74 this year. He's always on the court. Like, like he doesn't miss unless he absolutely has to.
Yeah. But yeah, man, looking at some of these playoffs, it was more him not taking the shots, like or them at least they're not giving him the ball, because like game 1 he was fantastic against Memphis, 29 points. He took 18 shots. In the next 2 games, he took a combined 11 shots in 2 games, and that cannot happen. Like there's
for a number 1 option on a playoff team. That
the
cannot
playoffs.
happen.
That's probably why I believe that Anthony Edwards is the best player on that team.
I could get behind that for sure.
Because
I love Anthony Edwards.
They didn't give him the ball enough.
Yeah, if Anthony Edwards isn't streaky like he was last year, I think Anthony Edwards is the best player on that team.
Yeah, we already talked about it with Rudy. The Timberwolves definitely could be a very
Very good team.
Now we get into these top 2, and number 2, who do you have at number 2?
I want to hear yours first.
I've said the first one for most of these. Who do you have at number 2?
Joel.
Yeah, I've got Joel.
Okay, I was about to say. I mean, it's pretty like.
You have to at this point. I mean, you could. We'll get into the MVP a little bit later, but I mean, 2-time MVP.
Back to back.
Gotta have him at number 1. But Joel Embiid, man, these last 2 years.
Led the league in scoring.
At the center position. That's like unheard of.
Well, although his field goal percentage is not that good.
Well, because he takes a lot of jump shots for a big man.
49.9.
That's
37% from 3 is fantastic.
He takes a ton of tough shots.
He's like Jason Tatum in that way, because Tatum takes a lot of shots. But the thing about Joel is he's often forced into those. Like, he doesn't force himself like Tatum does. Mm-hmm. Tatum forces himself into those. It's so annoying to watch.
And as much as we hate the foul baiting, it works. Like, I mean, he gets to the line 12 times a game.
That's the one thing I hate about Joel. I hate players who do that.
Yeah.
For instance, that one bearded feller on his team.
Yeah. But I mean, look, this isn't like a Dwight Howard scenario in his prime where like he would get hacked and like just miss free throws. This is a
No.
legit 80% free throw shooter who's
And-
gonna knock him down.
And he draws them himself, and he's a good defender.
One of the best defenders in the league.
I mean, his first year. Oh, it's only 31 games.
Still 2.5
The
blocks.
problem with him, obviously, will always be his availability.
But even last season, I mean, 68 games.
Yeah,
that's
like-
okay. That's
that's like-
solid.
Kind of the first year that we saw him like play a majority of the games, other than like 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
Because then they were 51 and 51, 31 that didn't play.
Yeah.
But he's fantastic. Watching him is just it's mesmerizing.
It really is.
But it's more fun
It is
to
more
watch
fun.
number one.
The Joker, MVP.
So good.
He's my favorite player to watch, both on and off the court.
No, Giannis off the court is
Oh
so.
yeah. Well, Giannis off the court is hilarious too.
But on the court, my favorite's Luka. Just because
Oh, okay.
it's like a masterclass watching him. But Jokic too.
Jokic, man.
The passes,
It's
the
ridiculous.
rebounding, the points. I mean, he does it all.
He does it all.
He's that player that you can throw it down into the post and it's almost always an instant bucket.
No matter
but then
what you feel like, it's gonna get a good shot.
if he wants
for
to
his
pull
team.
up for a three, he can pull up and snipe it. I mean, he is just so good.
And you talk about availability. I mean, you look at this guy. His career low in games played,
72.
and that was last season. Not last season. The year before.
The year before when he
where
won
it was
MVP.
where it was a 72 game season, and he played every game.
That's crazy. I mean, and like obviously his first couple of years he didn't start, but once he started like actually playing in the starting lineup, fantastic.
And these last 2 years where he's been the MVP, I mean, look, 27,
I mean,
14, and 8 assists.
I think he's the best passing big man we've ever seen.
No, I think it's undoubtedly
Yeah.
true.
I don't know.
And
Prime Kevin Love was kind of
Kevin Love.
throwing some missiles.
Well, the outlet passes. Yeah, probably.
The greatest
but
outlet passer of all time.
You got like Wes Unseld and Kevin Love in that sense. But the Joker in like the half court setting.
Crazy. I mean,
Slingshot passes across court.
behind his head, like
He sees
how do you-
everything.
How do you stop? And then you're gonna add that he gets to play again with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. Two snipers that he can just throw it to. I mean, Nuggets
The
are gonna be
Nuggets
so
team,
good.
I think the Nuggets have the potential to have the best record in basketball this year.
Oh, I 100%.
Because another thing,
as
when
long
we were
as
talking about
Porter
like,
can stay healthy.
yeah, but like talking when we were talking about like the other teams with the like power rankings and the over unders and stuff like that, something that the Nuggets have going for them is like I don't think they'll be like, well, with Jokic, of course, he's not going to be resting games and stuff like that. And like Jamal Murray and Michael Porter, they might have to like sit back to backs or whatever.
But they can still win.
They can still win because they have Jokic.
I mean, think about it. He put up these numbers, and he didn't even really have like a good second option other than Aaron Gordon.
Which isn't really, he shouldn't be your second option on a playoff team.
And everyone's like, well, if he's so good, then why didn't they win in the playoffs? Because
Well,
one
first,
man
it's
cannot do all of it himself, and
it's
the Warriors. But I mean, one man cannot take down a dynasty like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's anyone, it's going to be him.
Heck, I mean, look, man, these playoffs, man. If you look at these playoff numbers, if your second highest scorer is Monte Morris,
That's bad.
and then it's Will Barton and Aaron Gordon on horrible efficiency,
How do you win?
you can't. Yeah, you can't. I mean, it's just hard, especially going up against the Warriors.
Looking at some of his nicknames, they are very interesting.
What are? Well, I mean,
Obviously, there's the Joker, Big Honey, Cookie Monster, and Big Tipper.
Oh my
Those are
goodness.
terrible.
That's
Whoever
crazy.
called him these, I want to know.
That's insane.
That seems like something Luca would call him.
Man, he's a two-time MVP and he's only 26.
Well,
Or 27 now. 27
Almost
now.
28.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could say he's just. Well, no, you can't because he's a two-time MVP. He's in his prime right now.
Oh,
but
he's
this is a guy that
totally
could
in his
be-
prime.
Well, and this is
He
another
could win
thing.
another one. Easily.
Do you think he could win 3 straight MVPs this season? Now that might be tough.
If he improves on these with and the Nuggets are as good as they're gonna be.
Well, see, I think if he keeps the numbers and they win more games and they're like the best team in the league, I think he has a shot.
I think he's a lock at that point, unless like
Only thing
Luka
is like
decides
voters
to just.
or voters fatigue, because that's the thing. Like they could, because I mean, think about how
That's just
crazy it
stupid,
would.
though.
Think about how crazy it would be though, looking in the grand scheme of things. If like, you think Michael and LeBron, they never got 3 in a row. Like the last guy to win 3 in a
Barry
row was
Bonds
Larry Bird.
in the MLB.
Oh yeah. But it's like Jokic gets it, but like Jokic, he's so good. I mean, the fact he was the 41st pick. Whew.
That's crazy.
Jokic just a very, very great player, and this is what I was about
Just
to say.
think, the Nuggets could have had him, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray,
like they drafted Rudy too.
and Rudy. That's
But like
And
Jokic
Michael
is a
Porter.
guy that could like. We talk about guys that could age well.
Oh,
This is
he
a guy
easily
that
could.
He
He doesn't
talk
have
about-
athleticism already.
He doesn't have athleticism at like.
He just plays. He plays like
He plays
a
smart.
master.
Yeah.
He's like a chess master out there.
I don't see any reason other than like some major injury that he couldn't be like this for the next 10, 12 years.
Just 12 straight MVPs.
I mean, what reason? I mean,
12
look,
straight
what are you gonna
MVPs
say?
now.
What are you gonna say? He's too slow? Like he's already too.
He's already too slow.
Like,
The one thing you can fault him for is he's not that good on defense.
but if he's doing this much on offense, I mean,
Yeah.
he's carrying the Nuggets. He carries.
He
He's
is the
carrying the
Nuggets.
Nuggets the last.
He's
two
the Nuggets
the last
franchise.
years.
He had 19 triple doubles last year.
Yeah.
As
Just
a center.
Amazing. But yeah, our top 10 center list.
We like Nicole a lot.
I mean, I don't know how you can't. But yeah, top 10 centers. Do we want to go over honorable mentions? I mean, they're just some small guys. Like Nurkic, Capella, Vucevic.
Kristaps on mine, and who on yours?
Valanciunas.
yeah. I think, like I said before we started, I'd say eight through honorable mention is all interchangeable.
Yeah, I mean, every team center is like really solid, other than like you look at the Thunder and the Jazz and teams.
Well, I mean, Thunder have a solid center. He just isn't going to play this year.
Oh, I guess Chet Holmgren. Yeah, that counts too. Yeah, I guess really the Jazz.
Kelly Olynyk.
Kelly Olynyk. Maybe he'll blossom.
just
Heck.
drops 35 points a game or something stupid, and like everyone's
Man,
like,
the
where did this
Jazz-
come from?
the
He's gonna get the
Jazz-
ball every
The
play.
Jazz's defense is gonna be horrendous.
He's gonna shoot like 10% from the field,
Vanderbilt.
dropping 35 points a game.
Yeah. But yeah, top 10 center list was great. We only have a few more days until, actually, by the time this comes out, the preseason will have already started. We've got a game at 6 in the morning on Friday. The Warriors and the Wizards in Tokyo, which I'll probably be watching during first block of classes just to get that basketball back, man. It's been
Yeah.
so long. It's crazy to me, like,
He'll definitely watch it with you too. He'll be like, "Oh, Miles, you're watching this."
yeah. But like for both of us as fans of teams that didn't end up making the playoffs, it's crazy to think it's been 5.5 months since we've seen our teams play basketball.
Actually, mine's a couple days less.
Still, though, I mean, we didn't make the playoffs. It's still been, but yeah, my team played like a week extra. We played like 84 games.
We'll
But
take a bow for Trae Young. Thank you.
is there a spider in here? Is there a spider in here? I could. But yeah, I could not be more excited for this season. Just so many different things could happen.
Yeah.
And especially these centers, man. Like you look at
Great
the centers,
position.
great
They're
position.
back. The position is back, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember texting with you like a few years ago when the Jokic Embiid front running for MVP thing was first starting. And I was like, man, remember a few years ago when we were like, man,
Centers
when are the
suck.
centers going to lead? When are the centers going to be like the first option?
And
on
then
it?
and then it's like, oh, this injury-prone beast, and this
Smart.
late second round, everyone was like overweight
Taco Bell commercial.
Taco Bell commercial, just methodical center would be the two faces of the NBA that year, and even last year I would
Even
say.
last year, they were the two front runners for MVP.
It's great,
I hope to see more from them in the playoffs.
and Cat could be a nice little MVP dark horse too.
That'd be kind of crazy.
But it could happen if the Timberwolves win a lot of games,
That's the thing with the league. There's so much potential for guys.
and it's
this year.
amazing. I love it.
It's amazing.
League's in a great place, I think, right now.
Great place. Can't wait for the season to start. Next episode, I guess we'll talk about some of the things that happened in preseason.
Or we could do
any
a
more
word prediction.
news.
Either way,
Yeah.
we'll think of something.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this part, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Go follow the Miles and Goggles Twitter page. Goglin's in charge of that, posting some shorts on there.
Yep, and editing.
Yep. But yeah, for episode 7, I'm Miles.
I'm Goggles.
And we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.